Hey everybody, welcome to Season 9 of Surface Level, curious conversations about the Black and queer experience. I'm one of your hosts, Damon, and today, Jordan, Tony, and I are discussing hookup culture and its impact on queer intimacy. Do you have specific rules around hookups?
I mean, there's a lot of rules.
Okay, we only have 45 minutes.
Not exhaustive. But like, I definitely want to make sure that there is a clear exchange of like recent photos between one another before I go somewhere for security purposes.
Wait. For security purposes.
For security purposes.
Also known as, I want to make sure that some of the rules that I have are based on past experiences. No camera. Cut the cameras. Dead ass. A lot of people like to record and like to be recorded. I've done it with consent.
Let's roll the tapes. I like to host because I like to be somewhere where I know where the knives are. And I go back, because like if you get, like think about this guy, like if you getting crazy and I'm at his house, how am I defend myself? This is Hookup Horror Stories. We're back.
We are back.
The horror of it all.
The horror, the dark sidedness of it all.
The dark sidedness.
We're back. It's gotten a bit warmer. It's Pride Month.
It
so
is.
like, what did y'all do to get out of winter? And then what are y'all doing this month? Jordan.
Well, what am I doing this month? Well, we're going to Frolic.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
We're going to
excited
Frolic.
for Frolic.
So that's happening in just a couple days. So very excited about that. The winter and the spring was cool,
We went to LA. We won the nomination.
Right.
LA was cute.
LA was
We had a good
moment.
time.
It's nice to be seen. It's nice to be acknowledged and recognized for what we're doing here. I went to Gag City. That was amazing.
Oh my
What
goodness.
did you wear?
What did I wear? I wore a Fear of God Essentials pink like nylon pant and then just like a black shirt and a
I'm
jacket.
bored.
But I
You didn't
didn't.
wear no wig?
No wig. I couldn't put my style underneath a wig, but we did go wig shopping.
Chloe and Hallie figure out how to put their style underneath the wig.
Well, I don't have
so
the
that sounds
Parkwood
like
budget.
an excuse.
I don't have the Parkwood
Went
budget.
wig shopping, but no wig.
Couldn't find the right shade of pink, so we went to a bunch of like different wig hair salon or hair shops in on 125th, and we just could not. I think that they bought all the pink wigs.
That sounds right.
So I just wore my own wig. Yeah. What about you, Tony?
Well, I mean, I'm excited for. It was a very long winter, and so now that we are in the new season, I'm ready to live my best life. I feel like I think about New York City in terms of eras. So every summer is like a new era. It's like that was the summer of blank. That was the summer of blank. This summer, I don't know. I feel like coming out of the pandemic even more so, people are just
Ripping and running.
going ape shit. Like, I feel like people are going ape shit, just excited to, especially New York. It's like because we wait so long, it feels like for warm weather to come back around.
Yeah.
That everyone is just like chomping at the bit, and I mean chomping at the bit. So, but I'm excited for this new season.
I am
like,
too. I am too.
I'm really excited to get back in the studio with my girls and have give the people what they want. And this season, I can't wait for us to unveil what we're going to be giving, because it's very timely. So, Damon, what you been up to?
I've been listening to a lot of new music. Getting ready for summer. I feel like everybody's dropping music. That's been fun. I feel like it was a little dry for a while in the winter, and then everybody was like, I'm coming out with an album in March, April, May. So we'll just see what else is coming.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have been at the rodeo since March 29th. So, and we're going to still be at the rodeo.
We're going to be at the rodeo for a long time.
For a long time.
A long time.
We are all cowboys and cowgirls.
until the next act.
Cow thems and theys.
Cow, yes.
As well.
Yep.
Period.
So,
Cow folks.
cow folks.
So that's fun. And then, June, Pride, it's just a lot. I feel like it's giving for us. Bus club, another club, no sleep.
Yeah. I remember last Pride, it was really special because Joe Morris did that block party, and that was. It kind of felt like I think about Insecure when they had like was it Coachella, or they did like that block party?
Oh, it was a block party.
They did both, but you're probably talking about the block party.
The block party, where it just felt like a utopia of
We got y'all.
What?
We got you.
So yeah, like I don't know if that's something like when things happen like that, I feel like it's one and done. Like you don't repeat, or you can try to do something again, but it normally is like the essence doesn't quite hit the same. So we'll see.
We've been twice.
We've been twice, but that second time really was the one.
Not the two.
Well, you know, the momentum's building.
For Act 3.
Act 3.
Don't count her out yet.
I won't count her out.
But yeah, Pride Month, she's busy. Just like that. Moby Fest, Frolic. Enough.
Enough. Less.
So yeah, let's move into our season.
Yes.
So, you know, we like to listen to the community and what they want to hear the girls talk about. So this season, we're going to just wake it up a bit. You know, it is, like Tony would say, it's giving Janet.
It's giving Janet.
So welcome to season 9, titled Throb.
Yes. So sexual.
Yeah.
Seductive.
So as the first topic and title alludes to the entire season, we're going to talk about all things sex. In all its layers, from hookups to healthcare, HIV stigma to sex and art. We've got you covered. So it's going to be a little spicy, but still smart.
Yeah.
Because that's what this is.
Nothing without intention.
Exactly. So
it's giving sex 9 ways.
Exactly. So strap in.
Season 69.
Season 69. So strap in, strap on, or strap up. It's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, strap up.
So
Get the strap.
Get the strap.
Get the strap. So before we go a bit deeper, we're going to stay on the surface level with something a little fun.
Okay.
So I went to I'll just say a screen test for a thing. Okay. And we played a fun icebreaker that I was just like, oh, I have to bring this to y'all. So the icebreaker is called Cum Dump.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right, so Jordan, get on the table.
Assume the position.
With the cameras?
Face that way. But no, so
he's camera shy.
It'll wink. So I'll give you a thing. A lot of these are hookup related because in the spirit of today's episode, and you decide if it's something that makes you come, you excited about it, or you want to dump it.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay.
So sometimes there'll just be one, sometimes it'll be either or, but just play along. All right. So cruising in public sessions. Come or dump?
Dump.
Dump. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hard D.
No, I mean, that's just how you say the word.
Wait, cruising in public.
Cruising or public sex and hookups in public places.
Oh, I mean, that's fun.
Oh.
Like, well, the cruising part, but I think like sex and the idea of almost getting caught is exciting.
Oh. Have you done that before?
I've not gotten caught.
But you have had sex in public.
I've had sex in public places.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I will say come.
Okay.
Okay. Damon?
Dump.
Oh, surprise.
I like beds and couches.
Cushion. Comfort.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
I like climate control. All right. Now,
well, no, but that public settings doesn't necessarily mean
sometimes.
outdoors,
Correct. All right. So next, glory holes.
Oh.
Tony. Rapid fire, baby.
I'll say come. I'm going to say come.
Okay.
Yeah. Why not?
I saw a video on Twitter where somebody put their dick through a glory hole, and then somebody on the other side had a little lighter just like lit it a little bit, and I said that is a nightmare, and so I have to dump it.
You got to tear the wall down. Box.
I'm kicking the wall down and I'm whooping ass.
I'll go with come.
Okay.
Traveling versus hosting. Which one makes you come more? Which one would you rather dump? I'll go. Traveling can get dumped. I'd rather host.
Traveling is a come for me because I like to have an exit strategy that doesn't require kicking somebody out of my space. And I'll also get tired of hiding my valuables.
What you bring in your house?
We don't know. Sometimes we don't know.
I'm gonna say I will dump traveling and come with hosting, I like to have control of the environment.
Same.
And then also, I ain't afraid to kick somebody out.
Not
So
at all.
if it's time for you to go, hit the road, Jack. Yeah, and then also, I started thinking about things like people having secret cameras and shit.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was rewatching Sex in the City, and there is a very now we look at it as a problematic episode about this guy that was recording women that he was having sex with without their consent.
Ooh.
yeah,
But like
that's-
nobody called it out. Everybody's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is weird. Do they know?" And I'm like, that wouldn't fly the same today.
We've come a long way
Yeah.
with consent.
All right, couple more. Come or dump. Being a good boy.
Come.
yeah, let's come. Let's.
I like being submissive every now and again.
Okay.
That's a good time.
All right. Come or dump. Hanging out after.
Come.
It depends. If it was great and
You get one up. What?
yeah, because
Well, let me
The
let
girls
me
are
expand
terrible at
on
rapid
that.
fire.
I'd rather. I'm gonna say dump. I'm gonna say dump on that one. Hanging out after.
Yeah. It's like, all right, thank you for your service.
You're like, say it again. What's the question? Hanging out
Hanging out.
afterwards? Please leave.
Come or dump. Oral only. A little side session.
Dump.
Come.
Oral only. I'll say come.
Okay. We're gonna move on. All right. So again, in the spirit of our hookup themed season, we're gonna start with the horror story.
Okay.
So what was your worst hookup experience? We're gonna say who's the winner of the worst at the end.
Oh, we're voting on the winner?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think one of y'all should go first because my hookup horror story is not so horrible. I don't think.
Oh, so you're just always 10 out of 10.
I mean, I'm that girl. I feel like I've not had I had to really dig deep and be like, what was so horrible?
Go deeper.
And I don't think, like, the only time I can think of that was horrible for me is one time I showed up to a place
Yeah.
to engage in sexual activity.
Right.
And when I got there, it was not just the one person that I was coming to hook
Bitch,
up.
that happened to me.
Ooh.
And so
I
it was
hate
like
that.
their roommate, but also they was trying to tag team on me. And I was like, well, first of all, I didn't sign up for that.
It's
Right.
giving robbery.
Secondly, like I could have been into it if
But
I had.
I need notice.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I got there, I was 3 sheets to the wind. And so I felt like I was too fucked up and like jittery and nervous.
Yeah.
And I ended up going into the room with the one person I was supposed to hook up with because they kind of like presented the idea of both of them on me, in me, whatever. And I was just like, let's start with one.
and where did you end?
Work our way up. And then when I got into the room, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go because I don't feel, when you just feel like
Something's not right.
something ain't right. You might
Trust
not
that
perform
feeling.
up to your standards because I have high standards. So that's why my horror stories aren't so horrible. But I think it's because I could not perform in the way, and I wasn't going there to top. I was going there to be topped. And
It's still a performance.
it's still a performance, a
Yeah.
grand performance. And
Right.
So I had to get on up out of there. And the thing about that is I guess this is the horrible part. Maybe it's not so horrible, but like it's a person that I have since like seen around, like, we live in Harlem and you are bound to see other people that
Yes.
live in the community.
Yeah.
And so, but it wasn't so bad seeing them again, like running into them. I didn't run into them for a long time, but then when I did, it was just like, wasn't a big deal. And immediately when I got home, I had text them being like, I don't know if I apologized, but I was just like, I was too.
I hope you didn't apologize.
I don't think I did. I think I was just like,
I'm just like, let me
like,
text them.
let's try to, I was like open to trying again another time. And I was just like less
Yeah.
under.
So you were into the
influence.
idea, you just weren't into the circumstance.
I could be I'm into that idea, but I wasn't into like,
You
I
need to
walked in
consent to
and-
it.
Right.
That happened to me once,
Yeah.
but these niggas were in a studio.
A
And
studio
I
apartment?
turned the corner and I said, there are no more walls in this place. I have to get out of here.
There's just two
And
people staring
I
at
was
you.
out of one shoe. I put the shoe back on and turned it right back around.
Goodness. Is that your horror story?
No.
Oh.
But Tony just made me think about it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's so. Yeah, my horror stories. Like I know there are really. Like we'll get into you guys's because
Yeah.
I think y'all had some really some trials
And tribulations.
Well,
Yes, absolutely.
So mine, y'all know about this because it extends more than just the hookup. So invite this guy over, super hot, like really attractive, like he's going to top me, but he was trying to kill me. And I
Oh.
was just like, not kill me, like
Okay.
just not
He
be
wasn't
gentle
He okay
at all.
Got you.
Just
okay.
like we going in there, barely in the loop. Just I'm like, what are you
Ooh.
doing? So I was just like, we must stop this now.
Mm-hmm.
You must leave.
Yeah.
Fast forward, he is a dancer at Boxers.
Mm.
We're all at Boxers for my birthday. My brother, I have a gay brother. He's in town.
Yeah.
My brother's like, oh, like he tries to get like the dancer. He's like, oh, come dance with my brother. It's his birthday. The dancer is
shit.
the guy I kicked out of my house, and he starts like yelling at Boxers. It was so
Wait a
fucking
minute.
weird.
He
was yelling at you?
He was being. I think we were on separate floors. So like me and my brother were downstairs, and I think
Yeah.
y'all were upstairs. And the guy got like all fucking aggressive, and I was just like,
Oh
get
my
me out of here.
goodness.
So
But-
wait, he was he triggered? Like was he pissed that you kicked him out?
Yeah,
Because but in
In
real time when it happened, when you
Yeah,
kicked him
like
out,
how did he
just
react?
leave?
he just left.
But then later on,
He
running
was
into
just.
him,
It was given and another thing, and
he
I'm like,
was like ready to
Oh,
Not
no,
you.
come on.
not you.
Not
but-
for a hookup.
not, I'm like,
Why is
bro,
he still thinking about that?
and what?
it's
and-
me, baby. I was still thinking about me too.
But your
If I was a bad
but
bitch,
was
I
your,
wanna
bro-
fuck
was
me
your
too.
brother startled by the whole?
Yes, because my brother's visiting. He's never lived in New York. He's like, oh, I'm doing something fun. Like my brother, we're out on his birthday.
Yeah.
It was all strange.
Oh my God.
Bring us home.
Well, my horror story, I want to start by saying if you can't host and I can't host, we should probably just pack it up
I think I know where we're going.
and let it go.
You can't host and I can't host.
If neither one of us can host,
Properly.
why are we still talking? Except I was in my early 20s and we just really wanted to figure it out. And so I was
Another
in New
story.
Jersey. I was home for the weekend and this guy was just like, you know what, just come to my grandmother's house at like later at night. I'm just like, okay, fine, let's do that. Get there, there's a tool shed in the backyard.
I knew this.
And I'm
was
just
going.
like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm here now.
Well, that
Like,
sounds kinky.
it
In a
could
good
have
way.
it could have been, except you know how let's imagine like he's on all fours, right?
Okay.
And then I'm on my knees behind him giving him back shots, but like it's concrete floors, not
Ooh,
smooth concrete, that
ouch.
textured concrete.
My knees.
Exactly.
Even at 20 something.
It was terrible. I wanted to scream how
Do you
much
have
my
permanent
knees.
scars?
No, because I left. I did not
Listen,
finish.
y'all, you should have been more creative with what was going on in that tool shed.
I
Had
couldn't figure it out. It was also kind of chilly.
Could you
So
was there a light?
there was a light, but we didn't have the light on.
Okay.
We wanted to make it sexy. It wasn't giving fluorescent light.
Lights on could be sexy.
But yeah, it was just an awful experience for my knees, even at the early 20s. And I think in the early, like if I was 34-year-old today doing that, like they would have had to roll me out, wheel me out of that fucking tool shed. It just was not. That's why I don't do outdoor public
The
sex,
tool
because
shed
I
ruined it.
definitely want to be on the memory foam.
On the memory
I
foam.
definitely want to be on the cushions.
Jordan
And
said,
so
and to this day, I still have the scars on my knees.
I still have the scars in my mind and on my knees, but he was very kind, very sweet. But that was, that's
So
why
wait, you stopped.
absolutely, I couldn't finish that.
Oh yeah, but you could have stood up, and there's a lot of other ways to
It
penetrate.
was,
She's already
was-
scratched and the knees bleeding. There's blood,
not blood
running down
running
her
down my knees.
down her shins. Her shins are red,
it was
Tony.
given the red wedding. But I had to get up out of there. I had to run up out of there.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is that we shared horror stories, and I know that there are more out there, but we're not going into. We're sharing one. But it's,
down in the comment show.
yeah, share y'all horror stories in the comments.
I'm gonna vote for Jordan with the worst because she got the scars to prove it.
Yeah, I mean, she just have the scars. I just don't like the yelling in public. I think that's scary to
That was
me.
strange.
That is scary.
So
It ain't scary because we gonna fight all these people around.
Yeah.
Now
it
what?
seemed like
Now
you
it would have
didn't really
been
have that much
it
to
would have been a
lose.
scarier story if he got all wild in my house. and it's just me and him.
Yeah, that would have. Yeah.
I could not over. Well, actually, no, it's fine because I know where the knives are.
Child.
But that actually leads to the next question.
Does it?
For me, do you have specific rules around hookups? And if so, are they based in like safety, sex health, any past traumas you've had? I assume your first rule is indoors.
Indoors.
That's non-negotiable. I mean, there's a lot of rules.
Okay.
We
only have 45 minutes.
Not exhaustive. But like, I definitely want to make sure that there is a clear exchange of like recent photos between one another before I go somewhere for security purposes. I definitely want to make sure that they either live alone or...
Wait. For security purposes.
For security purposes.
AK, also known as I want to make sure that... Because I would FaceTime the person.
Oh, you do a FaceTime?
I would do I've done a FaceTime.
I don't like a FaceTime.
Just
you know
to
why I
be
don't
like
like a FaceTime?
Okay, it's... Because,
The problem with FaceTime is half the time if I'm like, especially on an app, it's either like early in the morning, late at night. If I turn it to that camera, I'm like,
they're going to change their mind.
I'm not going to look the way I'm going to look when you get here.
I mean, my worst nightmare is showing up and someone just being completely not their photos.
Mm-hmm.
And then I say, thank you for your services. Head on out.
But I also have to make sure they live alone or they don't have or their roommate is not there. I like privacy.
Interesting.
Except you hooting and hollering.
I also, I usually bring my own water because
that is not what I
Because you might get thirsty?
No, because I might get poisoned.
Okay.
So, we have to make sure that we're in control of like whatever we're ingesting. I also want to make sure that we clearly communicate what we're doing before we meet up. I think that there's a lot of times where people are like, let's just vibe it out. I'm like, absolutely not. I don't have any free time to just come there and just like have a chemistry meeting. Like, let's text. What do you want to do? Let's do all this digitally right now while I'm at home in the comfort of my own home before I start calling Ubers and getting on trains and stuff. And then, I mean, I think those are like the ground rules.
Yeah.
If we have time, we'll circle back.
We'll circle back. Maybe what you all say will inspire something else that I have in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, a few of those I definitely are on my list for sure as I think about the rules and regulations and the fine print before engaging in the horizontal cha-cha.
No, it's the horizontal.
The horizontal. What's the dance?
Mamba? No, it's
Not the Mamba.
no, it's horizontal.
Before we get horizontal.
Yeah.
Or not horizontal. Like I was saying, you can
Stand up.
stand up.
Stand up.
But some of the rules that I have are based on past experiences. No surprises. No surprise guests.
Okay.
Like
You're the surprise.
I'm the surprise.
You're
and
the
the
special
surprise.
guest.
Right.
No surprises like when I get there and it being like surprise it's me and the homie. Unless, well, it wouldn't be a surprise because I would know about it in advance before getting there. No cameras. Cut the cameras. Dead ass. People are like, some people will pull out a phone or something without you
Consent.
saying, I don't know what that's about. And a lot of people like to be recorded, like to record and like to be recorded. I've done it with consent.
Let's roll the tapes.
I was bottoming. I was bottoming, and I saw a flash behind me, and I said, "What the fuck?"
Ghost jumped up.
I grabbed his phone, and I said, "What the fuck are you doing?" He was like, "It's dark in here, and I'm just trying to see where I'm going." You turn on the fucking light. I'm like, "Show me your camera roll." He was like, "I deleted it." I was like, "So you lied?"
So you lied.
And I ran out.
Actually, I packed this pussy up and ran up out of
We
here.
deleted it, and then we went to the deleted items, and then we deleted that.
She's like, and then I reset her phone to factory settings.
Listen, this is one thing I know about my sister and consent. She don't even like being out in a club environment with the girls got their cameras out and they in people's faces is given.
There are no pictures of Jordan at Gag City.
It's Jordan. There needs to be a meme with Jordan and under it needs to say delete it now. The other thing is if I say stop.
Immediately.
And I mean immediately. And then lastly, and it was on Jordan's list, was that if I also like to be in a setting where it's just us. And so if
Yeah.
you have roommates, like I've had hookups where like the folks that I live with have been in the vicinity. And in those cases, that's when I don't like, we can't be like moaning crazy loud and
Right.
all
We can't
that.
bring the
If we
house
gonna
down.
do it, like we gotta like, and that can be sexy. But it's like, here, let's bite on this pillow. Or whatever you gotta do to keep it down.
Yeah.
Because that's a turn on too. But I also like I'm visual and I'm oral. I like to hear, and I like
Let me know
to.
I'm doing a good job.
I
Like
like to
talk
see.
them through it.
Yeah,
I like no mute.
I like all that. So
You all right down there?
I like to be in a space where it's conducive for making all the noises.
So first, we gonna talk about sex health before. Like I always like, and not in some like dramatic way, but like I always typically will bring that up. So again, for safe, I like to host because I like to be somewhere where I know where the knives are, and I go back because like if you get like think about this guy, like if you gotten crazy, and I'm at his house, how am I defend myself?
You run out.
This big ass.
I've done it. I had to run out of a house before. I thought I was going to get beat up.
for not
See?
for not getting.
He was very rough, and I was like, "Stop!" And he was like, "What the fuck? You can't take dick." And I was so scared. I was putting on my clothes, and I thought he was going to knock me over my head while I was doing it. And I almost had a thought in my mind once I got out of the apartment was to take a brick, and he was on the first floor, and throw it through his window and then run. Or run away, but I was just like, you know what, he might catch me. So I'm like,
that part.
let me
That's
not.
why you got to be at your own house where you know where the knives are.
Yeah, I've never ran out. I've heard of people using like I gotta go to the bathroom and leaving, but it's also if the apartment might not be set up for it. It might not be a hallway. It might be a studio. You might not.
What's the bathroom? Outside the bathroom in my house.
So
No, what you do is, and I've been in that situation too, where it wasn't like a dangerous situation. It was a catfish, and I need to figure out how to get out of there. Look around at the chargers. Well, at this time, it was like back in college, and so I had a BlackBerry, and I noticed that he had a different phone that had a different charger, and so I specifically asked like, "Oh, do you have a BlackBerry charger?" He was like, "No." I was like, "Oh, let me just run to the car and get it." I got in my car and I drove the fuck off.
Oh yeah.
And he sent me a bunch of hate text messages afterwards.
It was like, but
But-
you didn't look like you are a
Completely
different.
completely different
your
human
face-
I
being.
just feel like
Your face is not yours.
I said, "Where's Neve?"
Again, I also another like rule for me. I rarely will do like a new experience like after a night out. Like if I'm inebriated or like just because I like to have my faculties about me.
Yeah.
When like, especially if it's someone that's like brand new, I have no level of like trust or anything with him. It's just like, or if like I'm not traveling to some strange place in the middle of the night after going to the club. Not doing it.
I've done that.
I definitely have.
I mean, I have at this point in my life. I'm just like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that's not like now that I think about all the crazy shit that goes on with people and like drugging people and the other thing I say, I don't like we're not partying and playing.
Yeah, and I think that we were a little bit naive and kind of like what's it called? Whatever is bliss. What's it?
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss,
Yeah.
because I feel like we were in these streets and we were on apps and going to people's house. Like at any point, something could have happened to us, and it was
Yeah.
never something that was really top of mind.
Yeah.
For me until like much later on.
Like we think
And
about some
now-
of the scenarios you were in. Like we've probably been in some very dangerous situations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It, like even with people or like drugs around. Like there are times where people bring things out and I'm just like, that's not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So going a little deeper, so how's hookup culture, or do we think hookup culture has negatively impacted queer men's ability to develop more meaningful, intimate relationships?
Well, I do want to start here because
Mm-hmm.
this is edutainment,
Mm-hmm.
and I've found this
Now we're
it's
digital.
actually in part of the we do our preparation. And I was reading one of the articles, and it actually came from Vox, where it's a gay psychiatrist who said, "I'm worried about the rise of the underground digital bathhouse." That description alone, I was like, ooh, she's a writer. And then she goes on to say, apps like Grindr with 3 million daily active users and others like Scruff and Jacked are designed to help gay men solicit sex, often anonymously online. I am all for sexual liberation, but I can't stop wondering if these apps also have a negative effect on gay men's mental health. And when I thought about that, I think the answer is absolutely yes. I feel like a lot of people's mental health is impacted by the apps. And I also think that when it comes to like developing meaningful connections, you kind of get jaded on these apps. And people say that they want meaningful connections, but they don't move. They move differently, I find. Not all the time. And so I think that people go after that instant gratification, and that's what you get. And that kind of like impacts actually getting to know someone, actually having conversation. And so it depends on what you're looking for. If you're on apps, and it's not just the Jacks and the Grinders, there's, you know, the Tinders, there's the Bumbles, there's so many other apps that are supposed to be for meeting other people, but it depends on how you're using the app. And I do think, though, that just because you're on a hookup app, and just because you want to hook up, and just because that's what you're pursuing, doesn't mean that you're incapable of wanting more. You can. It's not a
either or.
Yeah, it's not either or. You can do both, and some people do, and I've seen it done successfully.
I think it's tough on the apps sometimes, because when I say apps, I mean more so like the hookup apps. Just because I feel like, I don't know if you all experience this, but like I feel like the way in which people communicate with each other just lacks a certain level of respect sometimes. Not across the board. Like obviously sometimes you'll meet people who can put together a full sentence, can like actually like engage in a conversation. But I feel that there's a lot of interactions that I have on those apps where it's like one word answers. I feel like it's pretty rude. Sometimes it's pretty like brash and like abrasive. And then it just like I could feel myself becoming short and like not really wanting to, you know, engage with people in meaningful conversations, and it's been tough. So I feel like I'm curious to know like how many people are having success with finding like a partner on those apps, when I feel like in my experience there's been so like a high volume of people who just aren't even interested in having a decent, respectful conversation with you.
Well, now the good thing is with the evolution of apps, there's an app for everything. There's an app for that. And so there is literally an app now, Sniffies, where it's we ain't for the socials. We are getting down to business.
Right.
And I think it's wonderful to have something where it's like, okay, if I just want to get down to business, I'm gonna go on Sniffies because that's where the girls are getting down to business. And if I want something a little bit more than one word responses, maybe I'll go to a different app. And so you can find what you want. And I think, like you said, Jordan, it's tough because how you engage with the app is not how everyone else necessarily is. And so weeding that out and spending all this time scrolling is just like, that in and of itself is my mental is suffering.
I think sometimes though, like we blame hookup culture or hookup apps for issues that are more personal. Like if we talk about intimate relationships, it's not about hooking up or the app or anything. It's about how we treat each other as human beings, how we engage with other queer men, how we value, and it's the thing I've said probably since the first season of our show. It's like the same people on Sniffies, Grindr, Jacked, Bumble, at the club, living next door to you. It's the same fucking 10 gay dudes in Harlem. Like the people are not different. It's just how we're choosing to treat one another based on environment that I think needs to be reevaluated. And like it's one of the reasons why I have met someone that I dated as a boyfriend, and we're still friends today on Grindr, because wherever you meet me, I'm going to treat you the same way. and that means that wherever you meet me, you can do anything from being something serious to being a hookup to being a friend, just because it's just people.
Yeah.
And like, I think if we like had more sight into that and more sight into how we want to engage and how we want to engage other people, like I think that would be more helpful than like, I think it's easy to blame hookups and hookup apps. And I think that's what a lot of people do. Like, gay boys, they all want to hook up and they only in apps. Like, sometimes I do want to hook up. I also have a husband.
Yeah.
That and.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's everyone's responsibility to show up in the best way possible when it comes to engaging with people. But I do feel like there's a layer of like people being jaded from an experience and then adjusting to whatever the dominant culture is in that environment. Because I agree. Like, I feel like the way that somebody may engage with us, like at a daytime party, might be different than how they engage with us on a hookup app at 3 a.m. And I think that what I'm going to talk about, though, is something that I feel like we talked about a lot, which is this psychological complex called the Madonna whore complex. And I've been so fascinated about it since I learned about it. Like, at this point, probably 10 years ago. But essentially, it's a complex that was first identified by Sigmund Freud, and it was a trend that they were seeing in men that they either look at women. In this case, it was a heterosexual study, but I think that it could apply to gay men as well. Men either look at women as these a wholesome Madonna, a respected Madonna that they can partner with, or a whore that they can have desire with, but they don't feel like those two things can interconnect. So people ultimately, and bringing it back to modern day, is basically like you have your people who you intentionally hook up with, and then the people that you consider husband material. And I feel like because of the culture sometimes with like hookup culture, like, you know, there isn't as much of a blend as I would like to see. I think as I got older, I started getting into the space where I'm just like, I actually want my hookups to be somebody who I want to like, you know, spend the night with and like hang out with and like have a conversation with.
Yeah. Why can't you be a hoe and a housewife?
Right. I'm a hoe and a housewife.
Right. But you know, that's society, right? Like I think that there's I think there's a lot of shame with like, you know, who you get like, who you're like bussing down, like versus like who you're going to prop up as your life partner. And
prop
I think
me up
that
and bust me down.
Right. But I think that a lot of people struggle with that. I know that I definitely struggled with that, where it was just even in like dating when I was like in my 20s. Like like the hookups that I was having, like the person might be like, it feels like you have like no emotion outside of this hookup. And I would be like,
well, it was transactional.
Very transactional. But then on the flip side, when I'm dating somebody who I feel like I see a future with, they're literally asking me if I'm a virgin. And so I'm giving Mother Teresa to people who I want to actually like build a life with, but I'm giving like the dungeon, the sex dungeon.
We're coming out with a line of prayer cloths.
You know, and I had to figure out how to like merge the two. I feel like it took a while to figure out like you need to figure out how to.
What was the turning point?
I think the turning point for me was just kind of like, I think starting to feel a little bit less fulfilled by like transactional hookups. Like for me, I got to a point where I was just kind of like, I'm not really enjoying this as much. Like, I don't really know who this person is. Like, I don't feel like, you know, I'm really like, I don't feel like there's an emotional connection there. And therefore, I feel like I'm not as invested sexually or sexually attracted. And so when I felt like I needed more of that emotional layer in a hookup, then I started to say like, oh, actually, like we just had a great time. And then like we had an hour-long conversation and like, I like you. Like, let's go on a date. And so I think it just stemmed from just personally, I think just sort of being a little bit less interested in transactional hookups.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we evolve in the things that satisfy us, that, you know, scratch whatever itch we need to be scratched, that are fun for a time, that get the job done in the way that we feel we have to navigate it to make us feel good about the job getting done. Like I feel like it's a lot of gymnastics in that way, and then we evolve in our thought and we realize that, oh, actually all of these things can exist in my world in within the same person, or many persons. So it doesn't necessarily like have to be so prescriptive in that way. And I like that we've at least gotten to go on that journey and like, you know, reflect back on how we used to run the streets and the things that we used to do, and now realizing like it's so much different now.
Yeah.
All right. So let's close here. We'll close how we began in a different way.
Oh.
So what
You
has
opened me
been...
up and now you want to...
Now we're going to slide it back out. What was the best hookup experience you've ever had?
Oh, my God. There
Tony
have been many.
Right. There's been
Tony,
so
Tony
many.
said, all right, how much time y'all got?
Too many to count.
We ain't got enough studio
I've had
budget for
so
all the
many-
studios.
I think I would like to go back.
Oh, way back.
Because, and come with me on this journey, because I'm thinking about
I'll come.
when we first, when we first were exploring our sexuality, it's kind of like chasing a high, and like it's exhilarating. And once you've done it, now we've done it so much, like it can still be exhilarating, but it's no. I'm never gonna get that first.
You got to try something new.
Those first times when it started getting good. So for me, the experience that I'm going to talk about is when I went to Sizzle, Miami. And so this is before I graduated from college. Or it might have been, I went 3 years in a row to Sizzle. And so it was like junior year, senior year, and then the year after graduation. So it might have been that year. And out at the club, and there's this fine ass chocolate brother. I mean, he was gorgeous. Like, skin was butter smooth. It was the trade, honey. It was the trade. And the girls were literally in line to talk to him. You know how that happened? Like, the girls are like shooting their shot. It was Shoot Your Shot Wednesday at Sizzle in Miami, and I'm seeing all, and I was like, I thought he was fine too, but I'm not getting in that line.
Right, you don't want to.
We don't do lines.
You don't want to
His
bunch
hip was
yourself
giving
up with them
Janet.
girls.
We don't do lines. So when the line succeeded and finally died down, he comes over to me and starts talking to me and wants to know my information.
He said, why are y'all down there?
And you know, back then, Tony now is I'm a little what you call, like, I'm slim thick now.
Twink Tony.
Back then, Twink Tony was Twink Tony. And so he comes to me and he's pushing up and he's trying to holler at me. And I was like, well, look at God. So he ends up telling me, like, wherever he was staying, I forget where. It wasn't in a hotel, though. I don't know if he was from out there, but it was like in
Fort Lauderdale.
and like literally I was like, well, we rented a car. So he was like, follow me back to my place. And so we get in cars. I follow him back to his place, wherever it was. And honey, when I say brick by brick, the foundation was laid. One of the best times of my young sexual life. Like, I mean, it was one of those after you need to smoke a cigarette.
Ooh, okay.
He handled me like like you want to be handled. Baby, yeah, that was, and it was just so, the adventure, following this man, not knowing, like, that's what I'm talking about. But something could have happened to me. But something
Something did happen to you for the better.
So yeah, I would classify that, and I had to dig deep for that one too, because there were so many. But I was like, I'm gonna go back.
He dug deep too.
He dug deep. Go deeper. So yeah, how about you guys?
Jordan.
I think so. There was this guy that I met like out at like a social gathering, and that like we just had like a good friendly connection. And then we decided to go out to a party afterwards and like had a great time. And then we went back to my place and yeah, we had sex. And then we went to sleep and cuddled and then woke up and had sex again. And then we went to breakfast. So it's not as
And then had sex
exhilarating.
I
again.
think I know who you're talking about.
Mind your business, Damon.
I will actually, you got to tell me who this is.
You know who it is.
Mind
too.
your business. But it was because, you know, I enjoy the boyfriend experience.
I know you do. And that's why it's problematic.
What do
It's
you
toxic.
mean?
That's your toxic trait.
Making these niggas think that you don't be their boyfriend.
No, I think that we're all in on it, right? We all know.
I don't think that's how it
we're just
works.
all creating a nice environment where everybody feels comfortable, seen, heard.
They
felt
think that they're yours and you're theirs.
for the day.
Mm-mm.
No,
If we talking about who I think we talking about, they ain't know.
So what made it so the best?
well, it just felt mentally healthy. It felt like there was an emotional safety there. It felt like the conversation felt very respectful, but also like pretty provocative. And I don't know. I like to like build sexual tension. So it's something sexy about like something maybe starting off kind of innocent, but then maybe like escalating into flirting and then maybe like going into like something a little bit more. So that that momentum is kind of like attractive to me.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just like a very like sensual experience, like great hygiene, great like, you know, sensuality, and just like I don't know, I walked away feeling like this felt very adult and healthy.
And this never materialized into something more serious.
No,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that we're talking about two different people.
Maybe. I hope
Yeah,
so.
because I don't think I told you this story.
Okay, good. Then we're talking about different people. Girl, you do this to everybody. This is your toxic trait. It's the same story.
Wait, is this toxic?
Same script, different cast.
Literally.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Am I the drama? Yes. The fuck. You know, it's funny. There are like two scenarios that aren't even that. It's funny because they're like two ends of the same, different spectrums, but it's kind of going back to you talking about hookups becoming less transactional. And in one scenario, it was a guy who I had never met before who came over, and we were like hanging out, chatting, having a great fucking time. And my husband always says this, but in Harlem Nights, when she's like, "Pussy so good, you throw it in the air, it turned into sunshine."
Pussy's so good, you throw it in the air and it turns to sunshine. Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
And it was so fucking fun. And then we like fell asleep together, and just it felt like somebody I had known for a while. I still know this person today, and like it was just great energy, a great time. And then on the opposite spectrum, somebody that I was very involved with, but then we decided to be like, let's just like tonight. He was like, I want to fuck. Like it was like, let's treat each other as if like we're just doing something just like really raw and just like energy based, and not I'm not your boyfriend tonight kind of vibe. But like there's still, in both scenarios, there was this level of just like connectivity that you had with the person, and it was just like fucking fun. And I think going back to like the no transaction, like unless I'm at like a bathhouse or something, but like let's say my normal life, like hooking up, I'm just like I prefer a friend with benefits always. Or like I prefer consistency. Like y'all be talking to me like, you still mess with that person? I like consistency. If it's something I like, if it ain't broke, I'm not trying to fix it.
Yeah, consistency is definitely more of a priority at this stage of my life than before. Because it's just like I don't have time to be relearning people, and then like now I'm nervous walking into the situation. Like, who is this?
Right. It's nothing better than when you have good sex with someone that you can just keep having that good sex with that someone.
Hello.
Perfect.
That is all the time we have this week. If you enjoyed this episode, let's keep the conversation going. Let us know your thoughts and questions at surfacelevelpodcast.com. And remember, stay curious.